Hi, Hopper class. This is art. It's Monday, so it's art. Yay! Okay, in this lesson, you will need some paint. However, wait until the end until you decide which colours you're going to need. If you don't have paint, then you can use colouring pencils, okay? So don't worry too much if you don't have paint. Right, let me share my screen. So here I have some examples of some paintings that were made by a lady called Georgia O'Keeffe. And we're going to be looking at some of her artwork later on. But have a little look. See if you can pause the video, and for each picture, write down or talk about it with your family. What colours has she used? Have you done that? Okay, let's look at this picture of the lady first. So she has used black, grey and white, hasn't she? Not very many colours at all. And the grey is a lighter version of black. They're all on the same spectrum, aren't they? In this one, in the middle one, there's dark green, there's light green, there's a little bit of white and a tiny bit of yellow. So not very many colours again. In this one here, I can see yellow and orange, and I can see dark blue and light blue. So again, Georgia O'Keeffe hasn't used lots and lots of colours, but what she has done is she has used shading. Shading. Shading is when you use lots of different types of the same colour. So you might have light green and dark green to do your shading. You might use dark blue and light blue for shading. So they're the same colour, but sometimes you use it lighter and sometimes you make it darker. So how do we make a colour lighter when we are painting? How do we make a colour darker? Did I say darker or lighter? I think I said light. How do we make the colour lighter? Right, so I have my red. How can I make my red lighter using my watercolours? What can I add to it? We've done this earlier in the year when we were making, I think, castles. That's right. I need to add in some white. If I mix in white, can you see? It's much lighter. So that's made a sort of pinky colour. If I wanted to make my red darker, can you remember what I'd need to add? What do I need to add to my red to make it darker? That's right, I need to add black. See, it's a much darker red now. Okay, so that is what Georgia O'Keeffe did. She would sketch out the thing that she was going to paint. So in most of her cases, it was flowers and plants. And then she would use shading to add the detail. So that takes us to our learning objective. Can I paint using shading? Fantastic. So today I want you to paint a picture. And I'd like you to paint a picture, please, of a piece of fruit or a vegetable. I have chosen to paint a pepper. Now, because most fruits and vegetables are more interesting when you cut them in half, that is what I have done. So you will need to ask a grown-up to help you. We are only using one colour. However, because we are shading, you could add black to that colour to make it darker, or you can add white to your colour to make it lighter. Now, this is a very tricky lesson to show you over the computer. So, I apologise. Here is my pepper. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of paper and I'm going to draw my pepper. So, I've already made a bit of a start. Okay, so I've really thought carefully about what my pepper looks like. I've copied the shape of it and I've tried to make it quite big. Okay, because if it's tiny, I won't really be able to see it, will I? So I have drawn out the shape of my pepper. I've also written the learning objective. Now my pepper is red, so the other colour that I'm going to use is red. But there are much lighter areas here, here. So I'll need to use white as well to make those lighter. And then I might use a bit of black to make it darker here or in the middle where it's dark there. So I'm going to make a start, but I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I wonder if, let's try it like this. Let's see. So I'm going to take my red. I'm going to start with the areas that are quite dark. And I'm going to start neatly painting. Now I am using watercolours, so that means that the paint is quite runny. If you were in school, this is what you would be using to do this piece of art. So if you have watercolours or you can get them easily, then use watercolours. If you can't get watercolours easily, don't worry. Any kind of paints that you have in your house are okay. And like I said before, if you don't have any paint in your house, not to worry, you can also do this using pencils. To make it easier using pencils, you can press hard with your pencil to make a darker shade, and you press lightly to make a lighter shade and just don't go over it as much. So have an experiment with your pencils if you don't have access to paints. And hopefully everybody that doesn't have a chance to use watercolours, when we are back in school, we will we'll get the watercolours out and we'll have a go with them. Okay, right. So I've very quickly painted the areas that are darker red. Now I'm looking now at this area. This area is very light. So I'm going to get the red, but I'm also going to mix in some white. And I'm going to try and make a lighter shade of red. It's probably, yes, it is. It's coming out quite pinky. There we go. And I find the more water I use, the lighter it becomes. So that's a useful as well. Now, obviously, you'll have more time, so yours will look much better than mine. Right, now I'm not going to do the whole thing because I know you're probably eager to get started. However, this area here, because it's like a little cave, isn't it? There's not as much light going in there, so it's much darker. So I'd quite like to make a darker shade of red just for this area. Let's see. Let's see how we get on. Can you see? I've added a little bit of black. Can you see how it's much darker, isn't it? So that will give the appearance, hopefully, that my picture is a little bit three-dimensional. It will show that this bit inside is much darker. Now I find when I'm making a darker shade, I don't need as much water. You just work on a small section at a time, and then you can think about your next steps and make choices about what you want to do. If you rush, it's less likely to show up the shading. Right, I'm going to stop there. Let me show you what I have done. So far, can you see I've got the vivid red around the edge, and then I've got my lighter section here. It is much, much easier to see off paper rather than on the screen. But this area here is much darker. And what I would do to carry on is I would finish my dark and my light sections, and then I would move on to this white bit here, and I could put a little green at the top as well, couldn't I? So your job is to get a piece of paper and some paints if you have them, and find an interesting piece of fruit or a vegetable and cut it in half. And your job is to paint that and add as much detail as you can using shading. Okay, so oranges are very good for this. So are peppers and kiwis. So if you have any of those in your house, use those. But if you don't have those, don't worry. There are lots of other fruits and vegetables that you can do this with. Okay, have a really good time, and I can't wait to see your finished pieces. Okay, bye, Papa Class.